Good evening, my students. Myself, Anu Mollik, is your teacher of analog communication in this semester. Hope all you are okay and fine and safe and staying at home. As classes cannot be conducted physically due to the pandemic situation created by COVID, I am trying to make some videos and to upload it in YouTube so that you can little bit get some essence of physical classes, not the exact but a few percent. Let's start. The subject we are going to discuss is analog communication. Now, what is analog communication? Why it is necessary? These are the questions comes in mind. At first, I want to tell that the topic in engineering communication may be say 100 to 200 years back, but its root is from the start of the humanity, because at that time also people communicate with each other by some symbols. Later, when it improved, the style of communication improved from one phase to another phase, and in engineering sense, and when the Wi-Fi broadband or mobile phone, etc., 5G has also come in picture. In this sense, communication means a long distance communication. While we are going to study regarding communication, we must acknowledge the contribution to Sir J.C. Bose for his contribution to the field of communication. Now, what is required or what we actually communicate? If we see the basic, very basic or broad sense system, communication system, what does it actually consist of? It is actually consist of one part. The first part is transmitter. The second part is channel. This is second block. And this is the third block. This is transmitter. This is channel. This is receiver. This is the source signal and this is our destination signal. In communication terminology, we call it as modulating signal. The output of transmitter as modulated signal. Then the signal is passed through the channel and it is received at the receiving end by a receiver, and ultimately it is forwarded to the intended user. So this is the basic block diagram, and in this sense what we are doing, we want to communicate from the source to destination. It is a long distance we can consider. That signal will be at first generated from the source, it will be then modulated by the transmitter, then it will be propagated, or maybe some transmitting device like antenna will be used. It will be propagated through the channel. There will be another antenna which will catch the signal, and using demodulation technique in the receiver end, we will get the actual signal that the source user intended to send to the destination user. So this is the overall picture of communication system, and what is one of the important components throughout these blocks, throughout in that whole picture, is signal. This is very important. You see, from the source end, what is generated? Signal. From the transmitter, what we are sending? Signal. From the through the channel, which is propagating? Signal. What is received at the receiver end? Signal. And the destination is receiving what? Signal. Therefore, this signal and its analysis is one of the important important tool to understand this subject. Let me tell what are the different modules of analog communication syllabus. First one deals with this important parameter, that is signal and its analysis using Fourier series and Fourier transform. We will eventually see that this Fourier series and Fourier transform plays an important role in understanding communication system, designing communication system, and understanding Fourier series and Fourier transform is so important that if you have good knowledge on Fourier series and Fourier transform, you can easily understand communication system. If you don't have that so much knowledge of Fourier series and Fourier transform, it will be really difficult to understand communication. So, though we have taken classes on signal system, we discussed about Fourier series, Fourier transform, and before lockdown, when physical classes was taken, there also we discussed a lot regarding the history of Fourier series, Fourier transform, how the derivation, the expression was derived. We are not going to go for such derivation more, but we will try to analyze some example and some applications regarding Fourier series and Fourier transform. So this is one part, analyzing signal, because it is the heart of this total communication system. Then we will know about some modulation and demodulation schemes or techniques. What is the role of modulation and demodulation? Let's briefly discuss. I will tell a short story that will help you to understand, or a short example that will help you understand the need of modulation and demodulation. There is a big river. It has a large width, and you want to cross it from one bank to another bank. Now, if it is very long, then it is truly difficult to cross from one part to another part using just swimming the river. Therefore, we need some vehicle like boat to cross the river. So here you see, you have less ability to cross the river. Therefore, you need something that will enable you to reach the other end. Modulation, which is used in the transmitter end, is nothing but this thing, that is the signal that is generated at source has not the ability to reach a long distance at here at the destination. Therefore, this source signal or message signal is superimposed on a high power, like the high powered boat, to carry your signal. And you see, you are coming to the bank of river, you have taken the boat, and here is the channel, is the river. You are going through the river using boat, and when at the other end, when you want to reach the destination or you have already reached the destination, would you go with the river or you leave the boat on the river? Obviously, reaching the destination here on the another side of the river or other bank of river, you don't need the boat anymore. Therefore, you leave it, and at the destination you just go without the boat, because here boat is not necessary, rather your presence is necessary only, and you have crossed the channel also. So this second part is receiver. At the receiver, what is actually done is the demodulation, that is the carrier signal, high powered carrier signal is taken out from the modulated signal. We call the source signal as modulating signal. After being modulated by the transmitter, we call it modulated signal, where the message signal is superimposed on a high powered carrier so that the message signal can be transmitted. And on the receiving end, or at the receiving end, what we do, we just take only the message signal from the modulated signal. Okay, so this is our destination. We want try to retrieve the message signal, original message signal that was generated with the purpose to forward to the destination. So here is modulation happening, here is demodulation. So what is modulation? Modulation is nothing but, in a simple sentence, without going for different technical terminology. What is transmitter? Transmitter is something which enables the message signal to go a long distance. And what is receiver? Here using modulation. And what is receiver? Receiver is that device or that block or this communication system which, using the modulation scheme, give us the original message signal, modulating signal that was sent. So this is the overall block diagram, and where we are actually in the syllabus. So one important part is Fourier series, Fourier transform, another is modulation, demodulation scheme. Here we will mainly discuss about different types of modulation, demodulation. Obviously, as it is analog communication, we will restrict our discussion to the analog communication part, where the modulating signal, modulated signal, all are continuous in nature, analog in nature. And within this analog communication, different modulation, demodulation scheme are used. They are overall divided on basically two parts. One is amplitude modulation and another one is angle modulation. Again, angle has two parts of a signal. As you know, it has two parts. One is phase and another one is angle. Therefore, frequency. So, amplitude modulation, it will be again have several branches like DSB, double sideband, single sideband. This will be discussed subsequently in the later lectures. Vestigial sidebands. There may be suppressed carrier or non-suppressed carrier. So many things. In angle modulation, where we will discuss basically two. One is phase modulation and another is frequency modulation. And for all the systems, demodulation scheme will be discussed. Now, okay, you have modulated and you are demodulating, so no problem. No, there is a problem. What is the problem? That when the signal is going through the channel, when it is generated, there may be some noise inherent. Same to receiver also. Besides, when the signal is transmitting such a long distance through the channel, noise may corrupt the signal. Interference may occur that your signal, this signal generated from this transmitter and another signal generated from another transmitter is interfering with each other. So at the destination it will be difficult to retrieve back the original signals. Therefore, we must make the communication system robust so that it can cope up with the noise and also with the interference. So, we will have to check our modulation and demodulation scheme or modulated system, how it is performing in the presence of noise and interference. Now, as you know, this noise, interference, this we cannot predict, we cannot determine what is going to be the noise. So, obviously this noise and interference will be random in nature, therefore we must read the random signal and random process to understand the effect of noise and interference in the communication system, signal and process. Okay. Then we'll do another important part that you have also studied a little bit regarding multiplexing. What is multiplexing? Multiplexing is nothing but you want to transmit many signals at a time. Therefore, you have to multiplex different signals. This is used. This is done by using multiplexing. Nothing more complex that it has two parts. The total time can be divided into several users. When it is done, then we call it as TTM. And when the total bandwidth is divided into the users, then we call it as frequency division multiplexing. So, the target of this course is to at first understand Fourier series and Fourier transform and to analyze signals accordingly. Then to understand modulation, demodulation, different schemes. Then the performance of the communication system and its robustness in the presence of noise and interference, and also multiplexing scheme when we are trying to use the same bandwidth or the same time gap and dividing the time or frequency to different users. So this is the target, and expected outcome is that you will be able to understand a given communication system, how it is performing, and you will also be able to analyze the modulated signal, message signal, and what could be the precaution taken to avoid or cope up with noise interference, and how you will also be able how you can multiplex different signals and you can transmit to a long distance. So this is the overview of the subject. In the next lecture, we will try to recap the concept of elementary signal, their operator, conception to Fourier series, Fourier transform. So for today, good night. Thank you.